Hi everyone, my name is Bree Piquel, and I'm going to be your peer advisor today. How's everyone doing? Good, awesome. So I'm just going to wait a couple more seconds, see if everybody is in our group. Cool, it looks like everybody's here. So hi, welcome. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and then we're going to go ahead and start the talk. Alrighty. Awesome. So you have made it to the first year small group discussion. Very exciting stuff. I'm just going to go ahead and share a little bit about myself so you know who this crazy lady is that's talking right now. My name is Bree, like I said a little bit earlier, and I just wanted to give a little brief summary about what I like to do and who I am. So I really like doing art, specifically fluid art. So it's this cool method where you pour acrylic paint on the canvas, and it's nice because you don't actually have to be a good painter to do it. It's a very free form way of painting, which is really nice and very relaxing. I like to climb on rocks, as you can see in this photo. I love taking advantage of the climbing wall at the Chico State Rec, and I'll tell you guys a little bit about the rec soon. I was actually a peer advisor summer 2018, so that was a lot of fun. I have Don't Be a Hater, Be a Roller Skater, because I love to roller skate, something else you'll probably find me doing in the rec in my free time. And then I'm an assistant leader with something called Adventure Outings on campus. Ooh, excuse me. So Chico State has this really cool program called Adventure Outings, and we take people on canoeing trips, kayaking trips, backpacking, whitewater rafting, snowshoeing, so many cool things. So if you kind of want to get outdoors but don't know how to explore NorCal on your own, definitely go on an Adventure Outings trip. They're really, really awesome, and you meet some really great people. So that's Adventure Outings, just a little bit about it. This is a picture of me and my friends backpacking in Thailand, and we got to go to an elephant sanctuary, which was really, really cool experience. And we got to do mud baths with the elephants, which was awesome. And then lastly, I have a photo of a Chico State grandma mug because that's really how I feel inside. I feel like I'm a grandma. I've been in school forever. This is my 5th year. This last semester was my 5th year in school. So I'm finally graduating. Round of applause. I know I did it. Um, yeah, so I mean, I've enjoyed school obviously so much, but I was a transfer from Orange County, and then I came to Chico State. So I did 3 years at a junior college, 2.5 years at Chico State. So I've been in school for a long time. Yeah, and then I put my email down there at the bottom, and excuse me. This is so that you all can email me with more questions if you feel that you didn't get them all answered during this session. I wanted to provide my personal email because I don't mind if you reach out and send me a couple questions. So that's a little bit about me. And then also, of course, I'm a recreation, hospitality, and parks major, and that's something that we all have in common in this group. So it's an awesome major. I can't wait to tell you more about it. And I'm so glad you all are here today. All right, so now that I talked a little bit about myself, I want to know how much a polar bear weighs. Does anyone know how much a polar bear weighs? It's on the screen there. So it's enough to break the ice. Yeah, I know. That was a rough one. That was not a funny joke. But it's leeway into our next icebreaker. So I want to know more about you all. I want to know your name. I want to know your hometown. And most importantly, I would love to know your favorite food, because that's one of the best topics in this world is food. So, just we can do this popcorn style if anyone wants to begin. But I'll start. So I'm Bree, like I just went over. My hometown is Orange County, or that's not a town, is Costa Mesa, and that's in Orange County. And my favorite food, anything potato based, like mashed. I like potatoes in all forms. Mashed, fry form, uh, wedge form. I love potatoes. So that's a bit about me. And then we can go ahead and go around. So who wants to go next? Cool. All right, awesome. So thank you so much for sharing that information. It sounds like a couple of us have some favorite foods in common. So now that we've broken the ice a little bit, I'm going to move on to our next slide. And this is Zoom functionality and etiquette. So please keep your audio on mute unless you have a question or concern. However, I want to let you know if you do have a question, you can utilize that chat feature in the bottom of your Zoom screen, and that will allow you to ask a question and type it out, and then I can answer it if it's in the chat. Utilize the raise hand feature. So if you do have a question and you don't necessarily want to put it in the chat and you want to talk about it, you can use the raise hand feature. But try to utilize that chat if you can. And then I would love to see everyone's gorgeous faces. So if you don't mind leaving your camera on but keep your audio muted, it makes for a more engaging learning environment. So just go ahead and keep on that camera if you can. All right, so today what we are going to go over, we're going to go over some academic success things and some general education policies. The two materials we will be using most, one is our Wildcat student guide and planner, and then two is our GE planning sheet. So I can show you what those two things look like in a little bit, but we're going to get those out. And then the goal of this talk, we want to set you up for success. We want to help you understand what resources Chico State has to offer. We have so many resources. And then prepare you for selecting your classes for the fall semester. Woo woo! Very exciting stuff. And then you are obviously responsible for this information, so please keep, a notebook or notepad out and a pen or pencil, because I would love for you to take notes during this time. You don't have to be like scribbling everything down that I say, but it's really useful information, and you all are going to be pros by the time we're done with this talk. So please be attentive and feel free to ask me any questions in chat as well. Okay, so some key topics. We're going to talk about online tools. We're going to talk about 9 graduation requirements, general education, academic policies, and registration tips. So be ready. So our first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go online. We're going to go check out the CSU website. So let's see here. Sorry, I'm still learning how to use Zoom. I really am a grandma at heart, so it's all gonna work out though. We're learning slowly. Okay. So to get to our homepage, as you can see, this is it. And you can get here a couple of different ways. You can go www.csuchico.edu, and that'll bring you to the homepage. So I'll just show you that method. Enter, and here you are. Or this is a really cool way. You can go harvardofthewest.com. And you're probably thinking, where the heck is this going to take me? CSU Chico homepage. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, Harvard of the West. That's awesome. Okay, so those are the two options. And it brings you to our lovely homepage. The first thing I want to go over is something called the catalog. So as you can see up here, you have a lot of different options to choose from. We're going to click catalog. Okay, this catalog library is really important because you can navigate and learn about different courses, different academic programs, and learn a little bit more about your major. So I want to begin with, make sure that you are within the correct catalog library year. This is a little confusing, but okay, depending on when you come into Chico State, you have a different catalog year. I came in 2017 to 2018, so that is my catalog year. And if I click that, I'll see all of the requirements for that catalog year. They may change year to year, just, because that's the course of higher ed. Sometimes things are changing, sometimes requirements change. However, you will all stick to the one that you come into Chico State under. So that will be the 2020 to 2021 catalog year, and you will follow this year up until you graduate. Does that make sense? So you'll be following those requirements. So if you just want to go ahead and click that, it'll bring you to the correct catalog. All right, let's see. So next, let's go over academic programs. Okay, so we just went over catalog library. Let's go over to this one. And let's find recreation, hospitality, and parks, because that's what we are all here for. And we're way down there. So let's click that. It'll bring you to this page. And here is where you can learn a bit more about this major. So we are generally referred to as RHPM on campus because it's so dang long to say our whole title, Recreation, Hospitality, and Parks Management. And you will get a lot of questions asking if you've seen Parks and Rec. Just be ready for that, you know? People are going to quote Leslie Knope a lot, and that's okay. I've only seen a couple episodes. I know it's embarrassing, even though it's my major. But just be ready for the comments on Leslie Knope. Just warning you all. I'm sorry, I'm drinking kombucha. You know, you gotta treat your gut right these days. Anyways, so this is the RHPM homepage. Let's go to program info. So most of you are here for the major in recreation. Some are here for the minor, but let's go ahead and click the major, the Bachelor of Science in RHPM. Once we click that, you'll see that it's 120 units to graduate for this major. Some majors have more units required, but ours is standard. Most majors are 120, but some of the more intensive majors have higher units. So that's standard, 120 units. The general education pathway requirement, 48 units. We're gonna go over all of this once we look at our GE planning sheet, okay? But this is kind of an overview. So let's see. This kind of gives you, again, it tells you about our program. It tells you what to expect from these classes. And so let's go ahead and scroll down. Something I wanna mention. You are all RHPM majors, and there's something called the major core. This core it's 6 courses, and these are classes that we all have to take. Now, there are options within the major too, and those options allow you to branch off. That's when everyone can be unique. You can choose a different option, but we're all under the same major, if that makes sense. However, everyone, no matter what option you are, has the same 6 classes that they have to take. So I've taken all of these, and I can answer any questions that you may have about them. But they're really enjoyable classes, and because they're some of them, you know, are like this first one, RHPM 200. It's like an introduction course. It's foundations of RHPM, and this gives you a little description. So it allows you to explore the major, and it's a really, really fun way of learning more about it. And then as you continue on in your time in the program, you'll move up in terms of what classes you need to take. So budgeting and finance, that's one of the harder classes, you know. It's a 400 level class, and that's an upper division level. So just really quick, I'll mention that lower division classes are 100 to 200 level, and those are more of the intro classes. You may still be learning about this subject area. And then 300 to 400 level classes, you're getting up there into your more intensive parts of the major. So just so that you know, that's like a little overview of lower and upper division. Just, you know, 100 to 200 level, you're still learning, and then as you move on, it's gonna become more intensive, if that makes sense. And then I'm sure so once you're assigned an advisor for your major, they're going to go over this internship program with you, but I'll just go ahead and mention it because we're here. Everyone within this major has to complete an internship at the end of the program. So you will actually still pay for enrollment in the university, and you will be under 12 units, and that is your internship, and you get to choose where you do your internship. Don't worry about that quite yet, but that's just, I wanted to mention it and throw it out there because I was unaware of this when I first transferred, and then I was informed about it, and it all made sense. But I just wanted to mention, you will have to do an internship at the end of your RHPM degree. And then I kind of went over options, but this is where you can specialize within our major. So I personally chose the options in parks and recreation management, but a lot of people do resort and lodging because they love the hotel industry and they want to take it as a chance or opportunity to travel. And I know a couple people who have been really successful in this option, and they have, been able to travel all over the world and work for different hotel chains. Then there's recreation therapy. This is really cool. It mixes a bit of hands-on therapy with recreation. So, if you love working with people, maybe in diverse populations or in a therapy setting, that would be great for you. And then event management, which can be also super fun. Anything from music events to special events like weddings, anything along those lines is going to be in event management. And of course, feel free to open up the chat, ask me more questions later after this talk, and we can go over like the specifics of each option. But if you did want an overview, you can click and it shows you what classes you'll be taking within that option. Okay, I'm talking really fast. Sorry about that, but just to kind of recap, we just went over academic programs tab, okay? So before that, we did the library, and then now we're in the programs tab. I want to talk about the courses tab real quick. So as you can see, there's a drop-down list, and it has so many different course abbreviations, okay? You're like thinking, what is all of this? Madness, all of these abbreviations, there's so many. You will see soon enough that on your GE planning sheet, there are so many abbreviations and it's confusing as to what they mean. So let's just say on your sheet, you are wondering, what is CMST, okay? If I can find it, I will tell you what it means. So it's alphabetical, so that's good. And let's find that. So CMST is going to be on your GE planning sheet. And here we go. So if you hover over it, you'll see it means communication studies. So let's click on that if you want to learn more. So on your GE planning sheet, you're going to see CMST 131 and 132. Now, the difference between these two is one is small group, and then one is individual communication fundamentals. If you click on these titles, they are going to give you more information. So you can see the differences between the two right there. Just to kind of overview what each different category or like thing is on this page, you have the class, abbreviation, and number right here. CMST is communication studies. 131 is the class level. So again, that goes into my lower upper division level courses thing that I already mentioned. This is a lower division course because it's a 131 level, okay? So CMST 131, now you know what that area means. This is the title of the class, Speech Communication Fundamentals. And then over here, you'll see, what are these numbers? 3.0, 1.0, FS, GE. What does this stuff mean? The 3.0 means this is a 3-unit class, okay? So I know it's a lot of information, but most classes at Chico State are going to be about 3 units, okay? Unless you're taking one that's not as time intensive, and those maybe could be a 1-unit course, okay? Or some are really difficult and those are higher unit courses, but they're usually 3 units. So that's what that means. And then you'll see FS, okay? And that means this is offered in the fall and the spring. If you just saw S, this means that it would only be a spring course, or if you just see F, it's only offered in the fall. So lucky for us, both of these are FS, which means they're offered both semesters, which is great. And then this GE means it's a general education course. So I hope that that clears some things up on this page. That's typically what those symbols mean, and you'll see these symbols a lot if you scan the catalog online, and if you look at the GE planning sheet, you'll see a lot of these abbreviations as well. So I hope that helped with courses. Again, you can find any abbreviation, click on it, and you'll see a whole list of those courses that we offer on campus. So if you are super into arts classes, you can click arts, and you will see all of the stuff that we offer on campus. Now, these offerings, they don't mean that there's still room in these classes, like it's not linked to our registration page, but this is just a list of everything that we have on campus. So it's pretty cool. We have a lot of art classes, wow. That's super cool. All right, so that we just went over academic programs, courses, and catalog library. Oh, I need to take a breath. Okay, I'm gonna drink of water. just talking. Next, I want to go over degree maps. Okay, so as you can see, I'm gonna click degree maps, and it's gonna bring us here. Looks like no longer hosted on this catalog page. Okay, so it's gonna redirect us to another page. And okay, we're gonna click that. All right. Okay, so it's redirecting us a bit, but we're gonna find recreation, hospitality, and parks. Aha, okay. So it redirects you to a couple different pages, but this is a degree map. MAP stands for Major Academic Plan. And this is basically an outline of how you will graduate in your 4 years at Chico State. You don't need to follow this, you know, like identically. You don't need to follow it specifically, but it's a really good blueprint for your time at Chico State if you are a rec major. So this is also depending on your option. I just want to mention that. So at the top, you'll see the plan. It's saying here, your recreation, but your community and commercial tourism. That is an option within the major. And remember, I said I was a parks option, and then there's event management option, and there's rec therapy option. Depending on your option, you will have a different plan, okay? Because you will need specific classes to graduate from that option. So it shows here though, in the first semester, typically the first semester and second semester, you're still figuring out what option you want, and that's okay. So a lot of people's plans will look the same. This first semester, we're gonna try to sign up for these classes, and I'm gonna, see if I can highlight the ones. Okay, for these that I just highlighted. You want a GE Area 1 class, a GE Area 2, and a lower division GE, a history or political science class, and then an elective class. So if everyone wants to kind of write down how I got here, just remember that I went to the Chico homepage, and then I went to degree maps on the right-hand side of that tab. And then it'll redirect you a couple times, but write down degree maps just so that you remember that this is a brief outline of what you should be taking, okay? It's kind of like your online peer advisor or major advisor. Seeing people in person is way better, but if you do need to refer to this for a plan, it's awesome. Okay, so that's degree maps. Went over that very briefly. And then we'll click the Chico to get back to the home page. If you always want to redirect home, you'll just click the big red Chico. So I went over that stuff. Let's see. Something else that I should mention is these tabs up here. So we went over the catalog, but I want to go over a couple other things. So let's go over the class schedule. This is great for important due dates. So you'll see the class schedule. Look at all these brilliant college students learning. Isn't that lovely? It's going to be you. Wow. You'll see it broken down into spring and fall semester. But let's look at these fall registration dates, okay? So you have 3 different times to register for classes. So pay attention, please, if you haven't been already. You have 3 times to register. First opportunity is today at orientation until tomorrow at midnight. So we're giving you today and then all the way tomorrow until midnight to add or drop classes. Then you have the second opportunity, and this is going to be August 3rd through 5th, and this is the new student orientation. I'm going to highlight that right here. Again, August 3rd through 5th, and then you have the add drop period as your third option, and that's August 10th through September 4th. Okay, so just take note on all of these dates, and that's going to be again in your class schedule right there. And just something to mention, see if I wrote this down for you. Something that you will need to remember is that, here we go. Here's some payment deadlines, okay? But I want you to know that July 15th is when your documents are due, and August 29th is the fee payment. So just to let you all know, those are some really important dates to follow. If you wanted to write this down, this information will also be available in your portal, and you can always navigate to this page through clicking class schedule. Okay, so I went over the class schedule. I went over 3 options to graduate, and then something else that I want to mention. Okay, we went over catalog, class schedule. These other tabs, campus map, directory, and library, are awesome. We'll start with the campus map. It's pretty straightforward. It is what it sounds like. You got to accept these cookie policies. It's great because we've actually moved to a 3D map, and it's so fun to like play around on. You can like zoom in, zoom out. So if you are a planner and you want to be super organized the first day of school, and you're like, okay, I have class in YOLO Hall, which is actually our hall for the recreation major, you'll see YOLO right there on the map. And you know, you can kind of plan out where you want to go on campus. You can plan out your classes and the way that you would navigate to each one. And you can even like play around and interact with this map. This map is awesome. Huge advocate for the campus map. It's great stuff. Whoever designed it did a great job. Next, we have the directory. So we'll click that tab. Okay, if you need to search for staff or department, you can use this directory. So let's say you really need to know, you know, where the Recreation, Hospitality, and Parks major building is. You can type that in, and it will show up in the Chico State system. So that was directory. Lastly, I'm going to click our lovely library tab. And then this will bring you straight to the Miriam Library site. And here you can look up articles, books, media. You can even chat right here with a librarian. This is a great tool. If you need to ask a question, you can even call or text and email them, and they will give you information like pretty quickly. It's a great tool. Okay. And then lastly, I just said lastly about library, but I have one more thing to talk about. Very briefly, we're going to click on portal, okay? And this is where you will sign into your portal, and you can get into things such as your student information as far as like financial aid and disbursement. And this is where you are actually going to sign in to put classes into your shopping cart to register, okay? So portal, you know, you're probably going to log into your portal more often than you think. And then something else that's nice to know, when you click on that portal tab that we just launched, it will give you a tab for Blackboard. And Blackboard is where we keep all of your grades. This is where you're going to see all of your information for classes. And this is basically, I like to call it like the binder. It's like your online binder. You're going to have your syllabus in here for different classes. You're going to have what teachers require of you, like all their course requirements, all their information. And this is where you'll upload most of your assignments too. So Blackboard is a fantastic resource. And if you click on that, it'll bring you to the Blackboard login. Okay? So anyways, that was that tab. So let's go back. All right, let's go to the main Chico page and let's kind of recap. So I went over all of this stuff except for email. That one's pretty explanatory. It's going to take you to your Wildcat mail, okay? So if you wanted to just check your Wildcat mail from this page, you can do so. I went over all of these tabs, and I went over, I'll click the catalog again, and I went over the tabs within the catalog, okay? So again, this website is great, pretty user-friendly. Send any questions you have in the chat, but that's pretty much all I have to cover for this catalog. Really quickly, our next topic is going to be the policies and regulations of the university. So while we're on this catalog page, I wanted to show you that if you scroll along here on the left-hand side, you will actually see, you can look at graduation policies under, under education, admission, advising, records, and registration policies. All of these different things are going to be like policies and regulation based. And that's what we're going to go over next, is some policies and regulations of the university. And you can get there by going to catalog and then going to the left-hand side here and click policies and regulations. And it's going to give you academic policies and regulations, so many different things, okay? Here you'll see an extensive list of stuff that we're going to go over. So this is anything from attendance in class to course credit policies to the use of plus and minus symbols. So if you're thinking later on, like, what did Bree say during her talk about, do I have to get a C- while I still pass? Can I get a D? You shouldn't get a D. Any of those questions, we're gonna go ahead and I'll just click this one for example. Use of plus and minus symbols, okay? Anyways, all of this stuff is found under academic policies and regulations. And again, I went to the catalog and then I went to the left-hand side and clicked academic policies and regulations. Any questions so far? I feel like I'm talking super quickly. So if anyone has questions, please raise your hand in the raise hand feature or type in the chat and I will get to you. Awesome. Okay, so now that you know how to get to this page, I'm just going to go ahead and go back to our slideshow, okay? Just because it's a nice layout for us. And I want to talk about some academic policies. So I'm going to open this into full screen. Okay. So first off, the advising system. Chico State has something called a dual advising system. And so this means you will have two different advisors. You will have an academic advisor, and they're going to go over everything general education. So not your specific questions about Leslie Knope or the recreation department, but just general ed. And then you have your major advisor, and they specialize in RHPM. They are like Leslie Knope to the max people, okay? So those are your two. And then I want you to know the academic advising is located in this lovely building called the Student Success Center, or SSC, and it's going to be room 220. That's where you'll find academic advising. So you really should see an advisor once a semester, just so that you know, to keep you on track. And it's just good for peace of mind. You know, you want to know that you've met with someone who really knows what they're talking about each semester. Okay, next, a super fun topic, attendance in class. So I've heard it many times before. Oh, in college, you don't have to attend classes. This is false. You are really going to want to attend your classes. First of all, you are paying money to be in college, right? So you want to make the most of it. Attendance is mandatory in most classes. Like teachers do take points off if you do not show up in a lot of different courses. And the quickest way to fail a course is to not show up. You can ask a peer, hey, what did I miss in class? But who knows if they were paying attention in class? And also, who knows if they're going to give you proper notes, you know? So you really want to go yourself. And it's great if you're more engaged in class, you're going to do better on exams. You're going to do better in the long run. I also just want to mention, if that professor sees that you are there in person, they are going to gain more respect for you. And if you go to them during office hours, they're going to recognize that you've been showing up. Okay, so just really go to class. It's actually more fun than you might think. College is where I really blossomed, as corny as that sounds, but I really was able to engage with my professors and I learned so much. So go to class. You'll also meet some great friends typically in class. So never stop just going to class. If for some reason you do need to not show up, that sentence was rough. If you ever, have a reason to not go, just communicate with your professor. If you're sick, they usually have it within their syllabus as to how to reach out to them. Typically that's by email, so you'll write a semi-professional email to them talking about how you got, that you're sick and you can't go to class. However, you need to drop your course properly if you really do need to drop it. And that will be done within your portal, okay? And you need some paperwork to drop a course as well. And I can go over that. But you're going to need to communicate with your professor. If you do need to drop a course, you can drop within the add drop period, and that is within the first couple weeks of school. So if you got into a class and you're thinking, maybe this isn't for me, you can drop that class within the first couple weeks. After that first couple weeks is over, however, there are more steps to take, and you're going to need to go to the Student Services Center, and you can get an in-person paper, or you can print it out online as well. And that is when you're going to have your professor sign it. At some point down the line, you may even need to get the dean to sign it. So just make sure you're following those dates, and I can show you where to find that on the Chico State website. But that's also under policies and procedures, like I just went over. Just remember that you can only add and drop within the first couple weeks, okay? And then after that, there's a process to it. So just always know that you have to drop it officially. You can't stop showing up to class because that's not the proper way to do so, and there are repercussions for that. So just know that. Something called a Pell. So kind of going along with not going to class, you know, if you really need to take time off from the university, there is a way to do so, and it's called the PEL or the Pell. This allows you to take up to 2 consecutive semesters off in a row. So this can be for personal reasons, travel reasons, medical reasons, etc. And your spot in the university will be reserved. So if you want more information, talk to an advisor about Pell. It's really a cool program. Grading system and symbols. Okay, so you know, standard grades, A, B, C, etc. At Chico State, we do have plus and minuses, and these do actually apply to your GPA. So a minus actually is 0.3 of your grade. And if you think that C minuses will get you your degree, you actually could be under the 2.0 regulation. So we require that you have a 2.0 GPA to graduate. And just remember, the plus and minus is 0.3 of your grade. So if you have a C minus, that's actually gonna, if you have C minus, calculate that 3% into your grade. So a 2.0 is all C's, but if you have a C minus, that's gonna subtract 0.3 and you'll be at a 1.7 GPA if you do have that C minus grade. So keep that into account. Also, we do not have A pluses, D minuses, or F plus. Like, you can't fail really well, is what I like to say. So just keep that in mind as we go along. Okay, so we kind of went over some key academic policies. We can talk about that more as we continue on, but those are the major points in the academic policies. And then now we're going into general education. So this will help you explore possible majors and minors. General education is planned to create well-rounded citizens, so we want you all to be a well-rounded person after you graduate Chico State. General ed is made up of 48 units, and there's 3 components of those units. So we have Foundation, American Institutions, and lastly, the breadth pathways. I'm going to go over all of this. I know it's a lot to take in. Does anyone have any questions so far? Okay, awesome. You all are doing great, doing fantastic. Thank you for sticking with me. So we're gonna go ahead and begin with our general education. So I want to show you all how to get to the GE planning sheet, just in case. Oh, am I screen sharing now? Okay. I want to show you how to get to the GE planning sheet. So something I like to use, I'm just going to use this feature because I didn't introduce it before. You can search the catalog for anything. So if I type in GE planning sheet, it will show you where that is. So we can go ahead and click that first one that comes up, and it'll bring up our GE planning sheet. This is just a really nice tool, the search feature, in case you forget where something is, okay? So here you have our general education planning sheet. If you have this, please pull it out right now, because we are going to explore this baby front and back, okay? You should have a front side that looks like this, and then a back side that looks like absolute madness, but I promise it'll make more sense by the end. Okay, so this is our planning sheet, and we're gonna slowly kind of check off these these 9 graduation requirements as we go along. And then at the end, we'll do a recap, okay? So the first thing I want to talk about, we went over what general education is. You know, it's here to create more well-rounded students, and it's going to give you an opportunity to explore options and majors and topics. So those 3 parts of GE, again, Foundation, American Institutions, and breadth pathways. We're going to begin with the American Institutions requirement, okay? So that is going to be found right here on our planning sheet. And I'm going to open up this page again. So it's 2 courses. It's 6 units total. And just really quick, I kind of haven't gone over what the 6 units are. And I'm going to do that right now. So let's see here. How do I get back? Sorry, still learning how to use the Zoom. So 6 units.